Top story on ABC News Breakfast. Every bar and club in Sydney's King's Cross will be audited in a crackdown on alcohol-fuelled violence. The state government announced that move last night at a public forum to discuss the problem.
It, of course, follows the death of 18-year-old Thomas Kelly in that unprovoked attack earlier this month. Last night's forum also discussed ways to improve public transport out of King's Cross and adopting a more integrated approach to tackling the problem. Well, the opposition communication spokesman Malcolm Turnbull is the local MP for Wentworth, which includes the area of King's Cross. He was at that forum and he joins us now from King's Cross in Sydney. Malcolm Turnbull, good morning. Firstly, if I could ask you, what's your view of that audit announced by the New South Wales government?
I think it's a very good step. It's good to see the state government taking firm action, and what we need to see now is continued delivery of better results for this area. I mean, my priority is the residents of this area. This is the most densely settled residential neighbourhood in Australia. It's not just a party strip, and it's vital that the residents can walk the streets safely. Now, the transport issue you mentioned is a fundamental one. I mean, how can you have bars open till 5 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. in the morning, and have the public transport stopping at 1:44? If you're going to have bars open and thousands of people here in the early hours of the morning, they've got to have a means of going home. And that is something surely that the state and city councils can resolve. Now, I think the great thing about last night's meeting was that it showed the depth of feeling in the community. The lower town hall was absolutely packed, standing room only, well over 600 people, and that really sent a message to everybody that the residents, this community, need action.
Going back to that audit, and it struck me, as I'm sure it did lots of people, upon learning there are 58 licensed venues in King's Cross in what, as you well know, is a very tightly concentrated area. Are there too many licensed pubs, clubs and hotels there?
Well, I think with the benefit of hindsight, the answer is absolutely yes. Look, what has happened is, Michael, is that over the last sort of 10, 20 years or so, there has been a move of people back to live in the city, and governments at all levels have encouraged that. So these areas are becoming more and more residential. But at the same time, here in King's Cross and generally in Sydney, there has been an increase in licensed venues. You have never been able to buy as much booze at as many venues with as much capacity for as long as you can at the moment. So this precinct, at the same time as it's being promoted as a residential neighbourhood, and more people, and particularly more young families, are living here, has also got more and more reason for people to come here late at night drunk and into all of these venues. Well, I mean, you know, one of the big issues is pre-fueling. You know, a lot of the people who come here in the early hours of the morning are already very inebriated.
Well,
you know,
who's to blame for that? I mean, do you believe the pubs, clubs, hotel lobby is simply too powerful? They've simply been able to override any objections, any concerns either the state or local governments have had there?
Well, historically, the liquor industry has been enormously powerful in this state. I mean, they've been massive contributors to both political parties, or the major political parties. Look at Bob Carr's track record here. He put 40,000 poker machines into the pubs in New South Wales. That's one of his achievements in his 11 years as Premier. Now, to give Barry O'Farrell credit, the law is changed now, and so the AHA and the pub owners are not able to make donations to political parties. So there's been a very big change. But that history of enormous political influence from the liquor industry is one that you cannot deny. It is to be utterly naive and dishonest to suggest that they haven't wielded enormous political influence in the past, and the expansion of ours, the provision of pokies into the pubs is testimony to that.
As you noticed last night, there was a lot of debate about the proliferation recently of small boutique wine bars introduced to bring a cosmopolitan tone, I suppose, to the King's Cross area, and they're being targeted by some of the bigger players for being the cause of the problem. Do you agree with that?
I think that's, well, look, my own view is I think that's nonsense. The idea that somebody with a hotel that's got a capacity of 1,500 people says all of this drunkenness has got nothing to do with me, but the wine bar around the corner that can maybe, take a couple of dozen people is the cause of the problem is ridiculous. In any event, there's been a freeze here on new licences since 2009. The wine bars are elsewhere in the city, but look, the problem, the difficulty that you've got, I think, here is that the whole setup it's as though it was designed to get thousands of people, literally tens of thousands of people, crammed into a very small area late at night drunk. And that's we've got to face up to the fact alcohol and drunkenness are a major problem in our society. There's no, the liquor industry will tell you that it's got nothing to do with them, right? It's got nothing to do with them. It's like, look, we've got to be honest about it. This is all about booze. That's what the police were saying last night. Drugs are a big problem here, no question. But overwhelmingly, the difficulty is drunkenness and the consequences for law and order and public safety.
Malcolm Turnbull in King's Cross, thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Michael.